Tina Turner seemed to have the perfect life. She had an incredible career that spanned decades, during which she won no less than 8 Grammy Awards, was married to a wonderful man in the later years of her life, and had a horde of adoring fans. But beneath her seemingly perfect life, there was much that Tina Turner was hiding. Nearly a year after her death, her husband Erwin Bach is finally opening up about Tina's struggles in the years leading up to her death, and some of his revelations will leave you shocked. Tina Turner's life was even more tragic and extraordinary than many realize. To begin with, her real name wasn't Tina. She was born Anna Mae Bullock on November 26, 1939, in Nutbush, Tennessee. Her parents were sharecroppers, and she spent her early years picking cotton alongside them. However, when World War II began, their lives took a dramatic turn. Tina's parents took jobs at a defense plant in Knoxville, Tennessee, but made a difficult decision. They left Tina and her 2 sisters behind. Tina was sent to live with her strict, religious grandparents, and this separation meant she wouldn't see or play with her sisters for years. It wasn't until the end of the war in Europe that the children were reunited with their parents. But Tina's most painful childhood experience was yet to come. At just 11 years old, Tina Turner experienced a deeply traumatic incident that left a lifelong scar. That year, her mother suddenly abandoned the family without warning. Escaping an abusive relationship with Tina's father, her mother fled to St. Louis, leaving her children behind. This abandonment made Tina feel deeply unwanted and unloved, impacting her development profoundly. The turmoil in Tina's young life continued into her teenage years. 2 years after her mother left, her father remarried, but the children weren't part of the plan. Tina's father and his new wife moved to Detroit, once again leaving the children behind. Tina and her sisters were sent to live with their other grandmother in Brownsville, Tennessee. But here, Tina began to assert herself. After being abandoned first by her mother, then by her father, Tina became independent and began forging her own path. As a teenager, Tina worked as a housemaid for a wealthy family while living with her grandmother. A music career, and the name Tina Turner, was still far off. Instead, she faced more heartbreak. In her mid-teens, Tina suffered a devastating tragedy. Her half-sister Evelyn and 2 cousins were involved in a fatal car accident. The tragic accident took all their lives, marking the beginning of a series of losses that would deeply shape Tina's future. When Tina was 16, her grandmother in Tennessee died. At the funeral, Tina was stunned to meet her mother, the same mother who had abandoned the family years earlier. Her mother asked Tina and her sister to move to St. Louis to live with her. With no other family or guardians to turn to, Tina felt isolated, and moving to the bustling city became her only option. So, it was time for Tina to leave small-town Tennessee and embrace the bright lights and music scene of the big city. During her high school years in St. Louis, Tina Turner frequently visited nightclubs and music venues with her sister. One night at the Manhattan Club, a life-changing moment occurred when she met Ike Turner and his band, the Kings of Rhythm, whose performance would change her fate and her name. At only 18, Tina had already faced many hardships, and now her big break was on the horizon. Captivated by Ike Turner and his band's music, Tina was determined to sing with them, despite there being no women in the group. After Ike initially ignored her requests, Tina took matters into her own hands. One crucial night in 1957, during the band's break, she snuck onto the stage and grabbed the microphone behind the drums. In her impromptu performance, she sang a blues ballad by B.B. King. That one moment changed everything. Her electrifying performance greatly impressed Ike Turner, who invited her to sing more. She took over the stage for the rest of the night, and soon after, Ike offered her a permanent spot as a vocalist in the group. With Tina on board, the Kings of Rhythm now had their queen. Despite the fame they would later achieve as a couple, Ike and Tina didn't start their romantic relationship right away. It took some time. At first, Tina focused on other relationships. She began dating Raymond Hill, the saxophonist of the Kings of Rhythm, while her sister dated the drummer. However, this arrangement quickly led to complications. Still just a teenager in her final year of high school, Tina Turner, then still Anna Mae Bullock, found herself facing one of life's most life-altering moments. She became pregnant by Raymond Hill, the talented saxophonist from Ike Turner's band, the Kings of Rhythm. At a time when most teenagers were focused on exams, dances, and graduation plans, Tina was grappling with an overwhelming reality: she was about to become a mother. When she mustered the courage to tell her mother the news, she hoped for some form of support, maybe even a sliver of empathy. Instead, her mother's reaction was nothing short of devastating. Overcome by anger, disappointment, or perhaps fear of social shame, her mother kicked Tina out of the house. For the second time in her young life, Tina found herself emotionally cut off from her mother, the very person she had longed to reconnect with after years of separation. That final rejection would deepen the wounds of abandonment she had been carrying since childhood. With nowhere else to turn, Tina moved in with Raymond Hill, who was, at the time, living in the same house as Ike Turner. It was an awkward and tense arrangement, and the young couple was under constant pressure. Tina was vulnerable, navigating pregnancy, emotional turmoil, and a fragile relationship all at once. Her son, Craig Raymond Turner, was born in 1958. Despite the overwhelming responsibilities of young motherhood, Tina's love for her child was immediate and profound. Yet the challenges didn't end there. The birth of their child did not bring stability to her relationship with Raymond. On the contrary, shortly after Craig was born, Raymond Hill abandoned Tina. He returned to his hometown in Mississippi and never came back, leaving her alone to face the future. Now a teenage single mother, estranged from her family and left behind by her partner, Tina had only one constant left in her life: music. It was the one place where she still felt a sense of purpose, control, and promise. The band, chaotic and male-dominated as it was, offered the only structure she had. She relied on them not only for income, but for emotional survival. Even then, the path forward wasn't clear. Tina knew she had a voice, but she hadn't yet discovered its power or its worth. Amidst this uncertainty, Ike Turner took notice of her potential. He began giving her vocal lessons, shaping and molding her raw talent. At just 19, Tina recorded her first track, Box Top, a modest duet that credited her under the name Little An. Though far from stardom, it marked the very first time Tina's voice was captured on tape, an early spark in what would one day become a blazing legacy. Shortly afterward, fate took a dramatic turn. Ike had written a song intended for another singer, Art Lassiter, and booked a studio session to record it. Tina came along, expecting to sing backup vocals. But when Lassiter failed to show up, Tina stepped forward, asking Ike if she could give the lead vocals a try. Ike, somewhat reluctantly, agreed, figuring he'd simply replace her vocals later if needed. What neither of them knew at that moment was that Tina was about to unleash something extraordinary. She poured her soul into the track. Her voice, powerful, raw, and deeply emotional, brought the song to life in a way no one had anticipated. That spontaneous recording became A Fool in Love, the song that would catapult her into the national spotlight and mark the birth of Tina Turner as the world would come to know her. It was a moment born from heartbreak, rejection, and sheer resilience. Despite being abandoned by her partner, cast out by her mother, and left to raise a child alone, Tina Turner didn't just survive, she began to rise. Tina's performance was so powerful that Ike decided to send the tape to Sue Records, an R&B label in St. Louis. The response exceeded even Tina's wildest expectations. Impressed by Tina's voice, Sue Records president Juggy Murray bought the rights to the song from Ike for an impressive $25,000. Murray also insisted that Tina be the star of the act, with a significant financial incentive. Ike agreed, and renamed his singer Tina Turner. Tina's first single, A Fool in Love, originally meant for another artist, became an instant hit. From the start, Ike Turner exerted control over Tina, even trademarking the name Tina Turner. This move ensured that if Tina ever left the group, he could replace her with another singer using the same name. It was a troubling sign that Tina unfortunately overlooked, setting the stage for a tumultuous relationship in which she would later have to fight for her name, her music, and even her safety. Their union as Ike and Tina began at a party in 1960, around the time A Fool in Love was released. When Tina and Ike started a romantic relationship, Tina sought refuge in Ike's room to escape the advances of another musician, marking the beginning of their relationship beyond friendship. However, their budding romance quickly faced a major obstacle. Shockingly, Ike was still in a common-law marriage when he started dating Tina. This should have been a clear warning sign, as Ike continued to be unfaithful throughout their relationship. These frequent affairs, often public and with other women, became a recurring issue. But Tina had more pressing concerns to deal with. The group was renamed the Ike and Tina Turner Revue, and they embarked on long tours across the U.S., where Tina captivated audiences with her electrifying energy and dazzling performances alongside her backup dancers known as the Ikettes. Meanwhile, Ike remained in the background, managing the group. Their shows became immensely popular, allowing them to headline mixed-race audiences even in southern states where racial segregation was still widespread, bridging gaps between black and white audiences and between Motown and rock scenes. Tina Turner began wearing wigs early in her career, which became a signature part of her image. This choice didn't stem from vanity, but from insecurities about her appearance and voice. Tina had always been insecure about her looks and thought her voice was unusual. To compensate, she wore elaborate wigs, heavy makeup, and flamboyant dresses, often changing outfits multiple times per show. This unique style, combined with her dynamic dance moves, set Tina apart from other female stars of her time, many of whom focused solely on singing. In 1960, Tina and Ike welcomed their son Ronnie, Tina's second child, when she was just 22. By 1962, they had settled into a house in Los Angeles, where Ronnie joined Tina's older son Craig, along with Ike's two sons from a previous relationship, all under one roof. Despite Tina's concerns about balancing family life with a demanding tour schedule, her worries were often ignored. Ike Turner was relentless in his pursuit of musical success, often resorting to violence to assert control. The first major red flag in their marriage came when Ike insisted on getting married in the seedy town of Tijuana, Mexico. After a dull civil ceremony, Ike took Tina to a brothel to watch a live show, an experience so humiliating that Tina kept it to herself for decades. Despite multiple top 10 hits, Tina Turner's public success masked a dark and sinister personal life. Early in their marriage, Tina expressed reluctance to change her name and voiced concerns about their grueling tour schedule. In response, Ike reacted violently, beating her with a wooden shoe stretcher. This marked the beginning of a series of abusive episodes. Tina would often go on stage shortly after being assaulted by Ike, performing with bruised lips and black eyes, a harrowing ordeal that pushed her to the brink. Ike's drug abuse and emotional and physical abuse took a heavy toll on Tina. He was later diagnosed as bipolar, but his rampant infidelity and public displays with other women deepened Tina's anguish. It all became too much to bear. In 1968, Tina attempted suicide by overdosing on Valium. Although she survived, the incident brought a striking clarity to her situation and strengthened her resolve to escape, mirroring her mother's earlier departure. The Ike and Tina Turner Revue reached its peak in 1971 with their rendition of Proud Mary by Creedence Clearwater Revival. The song hit number 4 on the charts, earned them a Grammy Award, and catapulted Tina Turner to stardom, with sold-out shows and television appearances. Yet, this triumphant period was abruptly cut short after Tina separated from Ike. Her already strained relationship with her mother deteriorated further. Tina's mother sided with Ike after the divorce, refusing to acknowledge Tina's contributions to their success. "She never wanted to give me credit for anything," Tina recalled. Leaving Ike meant Tina had nothing, not even her own name. She lived with her 4 sons and a personal assistant, relying on food stamps to survive. Making matters worse, there was a constant threat of violence. Local thugs would shoot at her car or home, terrifying her so much that she slept in a closet while her assistant stayed in the bedroom.